Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3. Today's subject will be the power of the narrative. So, this was one that was voted on, and I'm actually very pleased to bring it up because it goes over a lot of how things are ran. So, power of the narrative. Have you ever been a part of a D&D campaign and you have a dungeon master that doesn't really follow the rules? He just kind of goes off of his own little instinct and kind of runs the story on his own, rules be damned? That's the power of the narrative. The power of the narrative is the direction the storyteller decides to take things and how things progress with that. Now, there's good power of the narrative and there's bad power of the narrative. The examples of that is good power of the narrative, I would definitely say is dark. Um he does things that pisses us off or puts us in moods or depresses us, but it's not like he's doing it out of maliciousness. He's doing it to fulfill the story. He's doing it to show a sense of accomplishment in the story. And I understand that because, again, I'm a dungeon master. I've been on this side of the fence. And then there's bad power of the narratives. These, I don't want to say bad is a negative thing, but it's a learning process. You will have people that will try to run a story, whether it be a novel or a game or anything like that, but they show a very bad power of the narrative because they are put in a power position and they don't want things to go against what they're doing. In the sense that you might have a character that is walking around just always like a god. It's not realistic. Like, if that character puts themselves in a situation and they should probably die for it, they should probably die. Like, if you keep getting them out of it, if you keep god modding them, it's a very bad way of telling the story. Yes, you could back it up with saying they're the chosen one, or you could back it up with, oh, well, the gods got protection on them. But then there's no real danger to the story. At that point, it's like, well, we already know that he's never going to die, or nothing bad's ever going to happen, so. But that's the power of the narrative. And as such, as we have seen in Dark's stories, the power of the narrative is there, but characters suffer. And that's due to Dark's choice. But it's not because he wants them to suffer. I mean, he probably wants them to suffer so they can develop more, but he doesn't want them to suffer because he hates the characters. If anything, he's trying to build the characters up. And that's his choice of the power of the narrative. Storytelling is the direction and is the true power. For instance, I write fan fiction. Specifically, I've gotten more into it for Dark's universe. And I try to keep the stories as realistic to his guidelines as I can. But there are times that I want to kind of emphasize that maybe Zaz is stronger than what he appears, or that he's holding back, which technically he is. But in my narrative, I want Zaz, in my narratives, in my fanfiction, Zaz is the main character. Obviously, he's not the main character in Dark's universe. In fact, I made sure that he wasn't. I wanted him to be the lovable side character that's there to help things along and do support. I didn't necessarily want him to constantly be in the limelight. Because, I mean, I love Selma as a character. And I think her story and what we're seeing from her story is absolutely wonderful. Just as I've thought about introducing a character or making a character for Night of Slaughter to kind of go along with Veronica. But again, I don't want to take from Veronica's story. It's not my narrative. And putting yourself in the situation that you would be hindering the narrative is also almost as bad as, being a part of a bad narrative. But in my fan fictions, which is my narrative, I can do anything I darn well please because it's my narrative. And I've seen people do some outlandish things. Not with any fan fictions necessarily. Okay, there is one, but not with many of the fan fictions that come across for Dark's world in Dark Sand Oasis Productions. Um, but in my narratives, Zaz is the main character. So if you ever read any of the fan fictions on the uh, Discord, you'll notice that, the story revolves around him. And in this narrative, it's kind of showing you a glimpse of Zaz's side story. Kind of like what might be going on in the background when you're reading Devil's Deal, and it's like, oh, this is what Selma's doing. Well, I wonder what our other party members are doing at this time. And that's kind of that's why I try to make it so realistic. But again, the power of the narrative also has a way of biting people. And if you ever sit in on RP sessions, which, by the way, I absolutely love what Dark does with that, because in his narrative, in his story, if you're a Diamond subscriber, if you are a part of the story, he essentially deputizes you into the narrative. So you kind of get to run your character the way you would run your character, unhindered, and Dark works with that. Now, don't get me wrong, he can change that at any time. There's plenty of times that when I've done RP with Zaz, I mean, I play him supportive, I play him back. I don't want to make him the center of attention, even though I know he has a darker side to him. And that's Dark's choice too. Like, even if I play him that way, Dark could make him come across more sinister in the story, because that's the power of his narrative. This is his story. This is how he's running it. And I mean, you can do anything with that. He could honestly make Zaz wind up becoming a slug, or he could turn Zaz into some sort of god if he wanted to. Not that I'd want him to. Even Zaz wouldn't want that. Zaz doesn't want that kind of power. But that's the power of the narrative. And I've noticed with fan fictions that have been released, not of just mine, but other people's, that their narratives are so close to Dark's world. Like, people try to make it realistic. People try to make it believable. And that's really cool, because in a sense, if Dark likes the narrative of other people, he might be willing to make it more canon. For instance, one of the fan fictions that I ran that was Zaz having his first date with Lillian. Like, their first dead serious date after traveling for a year and a half with each other. Finally being able to settle down and have a date. That was non-canon. That fan fiction was not even supposed to be real canon. And yet, Dark brought it up in the story and stated that the location where you proposed to Lillian, the location that, you had your date. And I'm like, I thought that wasn't canon, but he just said it was. Or Zaz's backstory. Nobody knew anything about Zaz's backstory, where he came from, what he did in the Dayu. And I did a little snippet of hey, maybe this is what it was like. And it sort of became canon. And that's the part of the power of the narrative that I love, and I especially love with Dark Sand Oasis Productions, is that it's his narrative, but he's willing to share it with you. Obviously, if there's something he doesn't like, he'll kibosh it. But if there's something he does like, or something that he feels would be an improvement on the story, he is willing to take that into consideration and take that into the story. I mean, let's look at one of the other situations. So, Zaz, due to the community, there was an RP session where Zaz kisses Marshall. And I thought it would be kind of fun. I mean, I put it in a situation that was a bit more believable, and it happened in the session. So much so that the artist of Devil's Deal actually did rough sketches of what it would look like. And now I'm not saying Dark will put it in the series, but if he does, I mean, apparently it was something that he found funny. So, but that's the power of the narrative.